Viewers, if you're tuning in now, let's alert you that we're on the brink of World War III. The much-anticipated retaliation by Iran is now a reality. Iran has launched Operation Glad Tidings of victory against the United States. There have been retaliatory missile strikes on U.S. bases in Qatar and Iraq. As per the Israeli military, 10 missiles struck the U.S. bases in Qatar, while the number of missiles launched in Iraq still remains unknown. There's an official confirmation from Qatar that no casualties have been reported after these strikes. This is the latest coming in now. Qatar has issued a warning to Iran and says that it reserves the right to respond. Qatar has also said that they have intercepted a barrage of missiles towards the Al Udeid air base in Qatar and says that there have been no casualties due to the missile attack. That's the latest coming in. The air defense there very clearly has been effective in thwarting out those missile attack threats coming in from the side of Iran. Let's quickly open this up and take it across to our guest. Joining us, with us is Abhijit Iyer Mitra, Senior Fellow of the IPCS. Dr. Anand Ranganathan, author, is with us. Matt Klink is a Republican strategist joining us. With us is Hussain Shafiei, philosopher and historian. Dr. Dror Eidar is a former Israel ambassador to Italy and San Marino. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us this late evening here in the national capital, New Delhi. Let me go across to Abhijit Iyer Mitra. Abhijit Iyer Mitra, Iran has been saying that it will respond, but what's really bizarre is that they've actually attacked a base in a country that had come out to support them, which is Qatar. And now Qatar has, in a very angry response, said that they also have reserved the right to respond to these missile attacks coming in from Iran.
You know, Madhav, I wouldn't put it past the Qataris to have coordinated this with the Iranians. If there's one thing you don't trust more than the Iranians, it's the Qataris. They've got their finger in every pie. They're like a very rich version of Pakistan, hunting with the hounds and running with the hares kind of thing. They could have attacked Bahrain, which has a much bigger American base. It is where the Fifth Fleet is based out of. They did not do that. Why did they not do that? Because Bahrain would probably be treated, it would trigger the Mutual Defense Pact with America. And the thing is, Bahrain is majority Shia. They would lose credibility.
Yeah.
The second is the Emirates, and the third was Saudi Arabia. They won't attack them because, again, they would all invoke the mutual defense pacts that they have with America. Qatar, it remains to be seen. Will they or will they not invoke the mutual defense pact with America? If they do not, we can be fairly certain that this was some kind of a, stage managed attack. Did they want to inflict harm on the American base? Almost certainly. But as the Qatari Foreign Ministry statement has said, all 6 missiles were intercepted. We do not know what has happened to the missile that has hit Iraq. Iraq, of course, was, a easy target. No mutual defense pacts, no nothing. Shia majority, Shia government. Very likely they won't do much.
Okay, let me bring in Matt Klink. Matt Klink, what's the possibility that this is some kind of a staged or a fixed match, as Abhijit seems to suggest?
Yeah, look, it's good speculation. It is guesswork. I wouldn't put it past. I was going to comment that the Qataris do play all sides on these types of issues. The only thing that I can talk about is the American political consumption, and that is right now that a largely unsuccessful attack, a very light attack, I believe I heard it responded to as the equivalent of a paper cut. Obviously, Iran still has the potential to do more, but if they needed a face-saving gesture to say that they responded to the American attacks, maybe this will suffice. I do know that Donald Trump is meeting with his national security team in the very near future. They will likely present him with a slate of options. And as I said earlier, there are many options available for America to respond, or they may just let the Israelis continue to beat the pants off of Iran. They've been pretty successful so far. But, again, going back to what I said, there's retaliation and then there's retaliation. If this is their effort at it, hopefully the American president will keep tensions already high, but not higher. And if the Iranians decide to continue and try to inflict some damage, because it appears they haven't inflicted much right now, then I think America, we have a lot of potential targets in Iran that are very easily accessible to America. So we could pick and choose our time.
Okay. Let me bring in Hussain on that. Hussain Shafiei, what's the possibility? One of our panelists, of course, saying that Qatar, of course, plays all sides. There's every possibility that this could be some kind of a face saver for Iran to say that, yes, we did respond to US's aggression. And, of course, a very mild attack in the sense that there's been absolutely no damage on ground in Qatar. How do you respond to that, Hussain?
So first of all, no country would invite or have an invitation to have ballistic missiles and or any type of missile fly over their land and hit an American Air Force base. That's not something that Qatar would invite. So us saying that they're duplicitous enough to do that, reality says otherwise. Going to Matt and what he said, can I just say that an announcement has just been made by the IRGC, and that is that we have launched as many missiles as you launched in bombs onto our nuclear reactors or nuclear bases. So, and they've drawn a line under it. That is what the Iranians have put out from the IRGC just now as we were in the air sort of while I was coming from, because I'm on Twitter and I'm on a lot of Twitter spaces. I was at a friend's space, which was about 25,000 people, and I've come here to be with you, Madhav, that the Iranians are saying, you've hit us with this X number, and we've hit you with the same number. And the reason they've hit Al Udeid Air Force Base is because it's the biggest Air Force base outside of the United States. This is literally the biggest thing. So it's more of a, showing that we can hit you and we are willing to hit you. And it is, as Matt says, a face-saving operation as such. And I don't think they want to escalate, because if they did want to escalate, you'd have seen 100 ballistic missiles going that way and not to the exact number of airplanes or the amount of bombs that were dropped on Fodor. So we can draw a line under it, I think, unless, of course, Donald Trump decides that, well, I'm not taking this and I'm going to do X, Y, and Z and wants to get his cowboy boots on and does take it further, then what I will guarantee you is this. The whole of this campaign from the beginning to the end for Iran has been a matter of reciprocity. You've hit a school, or not schools, they haven't hit schools, I apologize to them. They hit the TV channel, channel 14 was hit. You've hit police stations and command centers for the security services, Mossad was hit. You hit anything to do with Iran, Iran has been effectively the adult in the room when it comes to targeting. And
okay, Iran has been the adult in the room. Dr. Dror Eda is a former Israel ambassador. Would you like to respond to Hussain Shafiei there?
Well, I just transmitted today morning in Channel 14. I don't know where this gentleman take his knowledge from, information. So there is no retaliation. From one side, Israel is cutting and destroying all the military bases and nuclear facilities and regime symbols. From the other side, you have a coward regime that targeting civilians, my family, but is weakening from one response to another. The last response against America is a joke. They launched 10 missiles, 3 hit the ground, and they said it's symbolic. This is Iran that all the world was afraid from. This is a tiger made of paper. So now what we have to do is continuing hitting the bases, the military bases, the military forces. Israel now is hitting also the passage, all the forces that were in charge of oppressing the people of Iran, like the passage and other that tortured many Iranian because they were not following Islam correctly. And Israel now also today bombarded the gate of Evin, of the jail where Iran put many of its political opponents.
Okay.
So what we have now is a symbol, is a sign of weakening this evil regime, and we hope to finish our goals in the next days. But Israel has not finished, and now what Iran did is to engage in a war with the most superpower of the world.
Okay, there's a breaking update coming in. In fact,
So
we've already put that on the screen. I'm sorry I'm interrupting you there. Bahrain airspace also, of course, now we are looking at, air raid sirens going off over there as well. Bahrain also telling its citizens to rush indoors or at least get some shelter. That's the latest update coming in. There are also talks of some kind of activity happening as far as the U.S. military bases there in Saudi Arabia are concerned. Some preliminary reports. We're going to confirm those reports before we put them to you. We don't want to put out anything that is, of course, alarmist in nature, because even if there is an escalation, we will put it out only after we get a complete confirmation. But let me quickly bring in some of our other panelists as well. Dr. Anandanathan, for India particularly, of course, there is a concern of, the Straits of Hormuz, where, in fact, we've been seeing, the kind of responses coming in from Iran. Its parliament itself approving the go-ahead, the National Security Council yet to ratify that. That, of course, is one big impact. And also the large number of Indians who are present in the Middle East. This is perhaps this kind of a widespread fighting within the Middle East, within different countries, is perhaps the worst nightmare for all the expat population out there.
Good evening, Madhav, and good evening to my fellow panelists, all of whom are experts here, so I speak strictly as a layman. I have 3 or 4 very brief, quick points to make. Number one, let me be honest up front. I am with Israel in this so-called war. Every person who loves democracy and who loves freedom should be with Israel. Israel is fighting this war for the rest of the world. So let me be clear about it. Now let me come to the specifics. Let me first give you the specifics as far as Qatar is concerned. Qatar, that base has 10,000 American troops. So that's more than, you would say, 100 US cities. So this is as good as a US city being targeted. Number two, Qatar has 1 million Indians. So if you remember when Iraq invaded Kuwait and we had that massive operation, the world's biggest operation to evacuate the Indians, I hope something like that wouldn't have to be repeated again by India. But 1 million expat population is quite a lot. So in the coming days, if this war escalates, and the signs are that it would, I mean, the ticker is showing Bahrain also has closed airspace, then I'm afraid India would have to take strong measures. And it's not just about having the Hormuz, the track there, keeping it open so that our oil supplies are not affected. They might be affected. That's one problem there. But let me now come from the Iranian perspective. The fact is they are playing a waiting game. They are hoping for boots on the ground. I mean, they have nothing to lose. So you've seen this, for many people who were saying, especially when Russia entered Ukraine as well, oh, this is going to take a week. Many people are saying this is going to take a week. I'm afraid that's not the case. So regime change is out of the question. Besides, I hope it's not a regime change orchestrated by US, because any regime change orchestrated by the US has only meant that US has been talking to the same regime after a decade, as happened in Afghanistan, has happened in Libya, and has happened most famously in Syria, where, believe it or not, the president had a $10 million bounty on his head and he's shaking hands with President Trump. So I don't think a regime change is in the offing. What is in the offing is getting Iran to the table. Now, that can only happen if they feel their honor is intact, and their honor has been hammered. Right. I'm not talking of the midnight hammer at all. So this is a long game. Iran is here to play it patiently, and it has just started, and it's ominous for the world.
All right. And in fact, there's an update coming in. In fact, we'll quickly put that out for our viewers in just a moment on the screens as well. But this is the latest coming in. In fact, there are news agencies which are putting out that the US base in Syria is the latest to be put on on full alert. We'll be putting out that information as well. Of course, we already know how Iran has, in fact, already fired missiles at an American base in Qatar and, of course, Iraq. That's the latest update coming in as well, that when it comes to Syria as well, we're already telling you about Bahrain, where there have been air raid sirens, but this is the latest coming in at this point of time. All right, there are also media reports coming out to suggest that there is some kind of response potentially coming in from the United States with its jets taking off at Saudi Arabia base. We will, of course, confirm that. We will put that out in just a moment. But that's the latest coming in as far as the escalation from the Middle East is concerned. Big developments coming in this evening. But let me bring in Abhijit Iyer Mitra. Abhijit Iyer Mitra, what's happening in these other countries? Is this just a matter of erring on the side of caution? Are we looking at, any potential response from the US to this happening immediately? Or is the US likely to wait? We know that there is a meeting in the Situation Room currently underway.
Let me just quote the New York Times. They've confirmed what I just said. New York Times. Iran coordinated the attacks on American air bases in Qatar with Qatari officials, gave advance notice that attacks were coming to minimize casualties, according to 3 Iranian officials familiar with the plans. The officials said Iran symbolically needed to strike back at the US, but at the same time carry it out in a way that allowed all sides an exit ramp. They described it as a similar strategy to 2020, when Iran gave Iraq heads up before firing ballistic missiles at an American base in Iraq, following the assassination of its top general.
All right, so that is the confirmation coming in. Yeah.
Now, the thing is, you are noticing the quality of decision-making in Tehran degrading day by day by day. When the Israelis are doing what they're doing, which is eliminating all the top leadership, the quality of decision-making gets worse because you have younger, inexperienced officers who are not read into secrets, who are not prepared for command, essentially filling the gaps at a time of crisis when they might not have handled something like this. I think we are going down that path. It's a very, very familiar path. We've seen the caliber of decision-making in dictatorships on their last legs going down exactly like this in the past. They already have a problem. The Israelis have bloodied them very, very badly. What we're seeing now is, their air defenses are non-existent. The Israelis are flying Heron drones, which fly at 220 kilometers per hour. And, have a huge propeller at the back that massively reflects radar and things like that. They've shot down 2 so far.
Okay.
What does that tell you? What are their options? They're going to block Hormuz with what? Are you looking at the kind of Israeli ground interceptions of missiles that are happening out there? I think this is a whole load of bluster with very little to deliver. All they're able to do is fire missiles at Israeli hospitals, Israeli apartments. The closest they came to a militarily significant strike was hitting Hakiria, which didn't even fall at Hakiria. It fell some 300 meters away.
Right. Let me bring in Hussain on that. Hussain, are we looking at an inexperienced regime that's going to collapse under the weight of its own follies? That appears to be the comment coming in from Abhijit. How do you look at it?
Not collapse. They're going to double down and get stronger, but not collapse. No.
Okay, double down and get stronger, not collapse. Correction there. Yes, Hussain.
Well, there's a possibility that anyone can collapse. So yeah, you've qualified it. Well done. But I don't know if you've been seeing the channel TV, CNN, ABC walking around in Tel Aviv with massive damage being done. I don't know if that's just CGI being created or AI that's been done to show that Iran is not blowing things up. Why are reporters not allowed to go to anywhere which Iran has said we've hit? Like all the military bases that Iran has been targeting. Why are planes flying from Cyprus and not from Israel? Tell me that. If you can tell me why they basically have based their air force out of Cyprus, out of military bases over there, instead of their own military bases, that I'd be grateful. Because quite frankly, Iran has got the strategic depths, which Israel doesn't. Iran has got huge amounts of missiles that will not be running out anytime soon. And quite frankly, Israel's not in a position to be dictating anything. All you've done is united the Iranians that were at each other's throats through the Reformist Party and the Conservative Party in Iran. You've got them all now saying we are Iranians now. Instead of saying I'm a reformist, or, or for instance, in England, we say I'm a Tory, I'm a Labour member.
Okay, you united the Iranians. I think I want to, Dr. Nathan, seeing your hand go up, but I want to get a quick response from Dr. Dror because there's a specific question to Israel that he has posed. I want a quick response from that, and then I'm coming to you.
Israel plus USA.
What is the question?
Sorry,
Dr. Dror, he says that why are those strikes happening, from outside of Israel? He says that there is media coverage which is blanketing out the impact of what has happened on ground there in Israel. A number of points that Hussain has made. Would like to respond to him.
I don't understand what he's amazing of, but what I can say is that Israel does not want to dictate anything in Iran. We had an immediate existential threat by this evil regime. So what we are doing is eliminating.
First. What are you on about?
We attacked Iran first. Okay. I don't care. We have existential threat by this evil regime.
You attacked us.
Now let me speak.
Okay, one by one. Gentlemen, one by one. Yeah.
Let me speak. I heard you. I heard you patiently. Let me speak. No. Please be quiet. Let me speak.
Yeah, I'll let you speak with your lies.
Okay. Iran is an existential threat to the whole free world. And this is an evil regime, that a dictatorship that tortured anyone that opposed their citizen in jail. They blinded one eye to many women because they did not wear very correct hijab. This is the character of this evil regime. Now, for us,
what did
after 80 years,
Gaza?
After 80 years now let me
Hussain, let him complete his point. Dr. Dror, complete your point, and then you'll get a chance to rebut. One by one, please. Yes. Dr. Dror, yes.
Can I finish my words?
Yes, please. Go ahead. Floor is yours.
So what we are doing, we do not dictate anything there. It's the decision of the people to change or not change this regime. We do not interfere in their choices. What we interfere is in their willing to exterminate the Jewish state. And 80 years after the Holocaust, we learned our lesson. When a dictatorship cries 1,000 times that he wants to exterminate Jews, we believe them. So what we are doing now is eliminating this evil regime with its military bases and nuclear.
Dr. Ragnathan wants to come in as well. Yes, Dr. Dror, now let others come in. Dr. Ragnathan, quick response, and then I go across to Hussain. Yes.
Yeah, I think it's important to remain objective. It was not that Israel attacked Iran. Let's remember, last year, it was Iran that twice, I think in April and in October, rained hundreds of missiles on Israel totally unprovoked. And what was Israel's fault? That Israel was going after terrorists, not Iranians per se. So I'm afraid it is not Israel that started it, it is Iran. It's just that Iran started it last year, and Israel said, we have the time and the capacity to strike back when we will. And Israel has done it now. So it is wrong to say that Israel started it. That's fact. Number two, I do agree with this gentleman who is pro-Iran. The fact that
who was responsible for the 7th October? Of course, it's Iran. Yes, you're right.
Yes, Dr. Dror, I think he's supporting you there. Allow him to make his point. We'll get to the Iranian point of view later. This is Dr. Ragnathan. He's an analyst from India. Yes, please. Dr. Ragnathan.
I'm with you, doctor, and I'm with Israel. I'm stating the facts out here. Number two, the facts also state, as I said, that Iran is playing a long game. Iran is not done, and this so-called unconditional surrender is possibly months away. But one caveat has to be put in. It is no longer an equation of Israel versus Iran as the previous pro-Iran, if I may put it, without offending him, said. It is Iran versus Israel plus USA. So you might say that Israeli bases are no longer operational. They're flying from Cyprus. I don't know whether that's unconfirmed. Abhijit might be able to confirm it. But the fact is, include American bases as well. It's no longer Iran versus Israel, my friend. It is Iran versus Israel plus USA.
And this is very significant.
And NATO.
Yes, and this is very significant because there is very clearly a large presence of the United States across the West Asian countries. And in fact, we'll come back to that graphic in just a moment. But I'd like a quick response from you coming in as far as this is concerned. Hussain Shafiei, respond to those 2 points that it is Iran which was the aggressor who launched those barrages of missiles last year, to which Israel is responding today.
No. So let's be absolutely clear. An Iranian consulate in Syria was attacked and they killed Iranian people. They launched an attack with a drone on the capital of Iran inside of Tehran. This was all done by Israel. And Israel was told, don't do this because there will be consequences. And Israel always likes to press buttons and wants to get a reaction. And the reaction it got both times was limited, because Iran could have done a lot more but chose not to, because, again, what I'll say is Iran has got the attitude of basically reciprocity. You do this, we'll do this. You do this, we'll do this. If you keep increasing the buttons with us, then you're going to get a larger volley back. And Israel, this Friday, the 13th has just gone by, 100%. This was the Pearl Harbor attack of Israel on Iran. And Iran has endured it, Iran has survived it, and Iran is now paying back.
Okay, gentlemen, stay on with us. We're going to slip into a very quick break. There's some breaking news coming in. The panic and fear caught on camera when missiles flew over Doha. On camera, people scattered to safety. People were seen running for cover in Doha. That's the image that you can see over there coming in from a mall in Doha is what we understand, where people were seen running for cover in wake of the missile attack coming in from Iran. Of course, that missile attack couldn't really do much in terms of damage on ground, thankfully. Many of our guests were in severe disagreement with what was stated a short while earlier by one of our panelists in terms of what this meant for Iran and the kind of impact that it's had on ground as well. Yes, Dr. Dror, I'm going to come to you first and then I'll go across to others.
Thank you. So the question, who is the aggressor, starts in October 7, not in April, in October 7, when Iranian proxies attacked us, beheaded our son, raped our daughters, burned alive fathers and sons, burned communities that were in peace with them. This was Iranian proxy, the Hamas. And then in the north, Hezbollah, that launched many missiles and attacked Israel, also Iranian proxies. The same in Golan Heights, Iranian proxies. So the Iranians use these useful idiots, the Arabs, that they do not respect them, to die for them. And then Iran strike also Israel. Iran had a nuclear program instead of investing its people, because it's a very poor country, because most of the money they earned, it's a little, they invested in their proxies, in terror, or in the nuclear program. So there is no one in the world that can have a nuclear program and at the same time shout that they want to exterminate the Jewish state.
Right.
So when they said it many times, time after time, Israel took an action. And what we are doing is eliminating the facilities of the nuclear bases and the missile bases. What they wanted to launch 20,000 missiles in one time on Israel.
That's the stated position. Let me bring in Matt Klink.
And let me also finish, because I have to go. We do not care about who started first. We care about their plans. So give me a break. This is an evil regime, and we are doing the dirty work for the whole free world, even to India, because they also threatening India.
All right, let me bring in Matt Klink now. Matt Klink, very significant over here is the news coming in that Iran reportedly has informed Qatar and the US about possible missile attacks. This, managed to perhaps alert US, which moved out several of its military assets, including jets, etc., from these air bases, and they were also able to thwart these missile attacks in time. This is the information coming in at this point of time. Abhijit has read it from one news source. I'm reading it from another news source as well. How do you respond to this?
Look, I think that's good news. I think that's the best of all alternatives, is that if Iran can feel that they can save some face in light of what happened on Saturday's attacks, successful attacks by the U.S. military on 3 nuclear facilities in Iran, then I think that's a very good thing. One would hope that at this point cooler heads will prevail. Again, the Israeli military has largely led the effort in taking out Iranian military and ballistic missile capabilities, and I would urge them to continue until the job is done. But responding to what the professor said, to describe what happened on the 13th of June as Iran's Pearl Harbor, give me a break. That Iran is the world's largest sponsor of state terror. Their proxies, as the other guest has said, their proxies led the effort in a cowardly attack against Israel on the 7th of October. And the world will be better off if the Iranian theocratic regime ceases to exist. But ultimately, that's a decision that needs to be made by the Iranian people. So, let's hope that cooler heads prevail. But for right now, I think that the United States is chalking up today as a win across the board, that no American personnel, at least at this particular time, have been injured or killed, or any infrastructure damage. So that's a very good thing. All right. There are travel advisories coming in from several airlines. There's one coming in from Indigo as well, talking about, in view of the evolving situation in the Middle East, some of our flights may experience delays or diversions, adjustments being made to ensure operations remain within safe and compliant airspace, with Air India Express also putting out a similar update. Clearly, of course, we can expect some amount of diversions as far as flights going out from India, which may be potentially crossing the Middle East. But let me get in a quick response, in fact, to what was stated earlier by Matt Klink. Hussain Shafiei, here you have several of our panelists who are observing exactly this. They're saying that it is because of the acts of aggression, because of the kind of proxies, various terrorist groups that have been supported by the Iranian regime, that things have come to this kind of a pass. Your response?
My response is very simple. If this Israeli gentleman is going to sit there and tell me about how this started on 7th of October, he's either a propagandist or out of touch. The situation with the Palestinians has started in 1948, went into another total overtake of all the lands in 1967, and they have been putting the Palestinians in Gaza on a diet, on a calorific diet. And if you think anyone would not be wanting to break out of the concentration camp that they have there to fight against their oppressors.
You are a liar.
Yeah, I haven't finished. I didn't jump in your throat.
You don't know anything about
exactly what happened.
You are a liar.
Dr. Dodd, you and Abhijit, many hands going up.
Evil regime.
Many hands going up. Matt Klink, Abhijit waving his finger as well.
You don't know history.
Madhav, let me finish.
Okay, Dr. Dodd, allow him to make his point. I'm going to give him 30 seconds. Then I come across to each of you for a reaction.
Of terrorists. You support terrorists.
Yes, that's exactly the question I asked him. That it's because of the support to terrorists that things have come to such a pass. Let him respond now to that charge.
Is it me who's responding or him?
Yes, Hussain. You have to respond 30 seconds.
So what I'll say to you is,
I think Hussein
the Prime Minister of Israel is wanted at The Hague for international war crimes. Israel has been taken to the international courts for probable genocide, but we all know it is genocide. And he's sitting here and he's got the audacity to say to me that the most evil... Listen, why are you talking? The most evil genocidal force in the world today is Israel. They kill You've killed 80%. 80% of all.
Okay, gentlemen, let me come in now. Let me come in now. Both of you, I will allow both of you to speak, but just let things calm down for about 30 seconds. I want to bring in Abhijit because he hasn't gotten a turn in some time. Abhijit, you wanted to respond specifically to the points that were being made, from... All right, there's a quick breaking coming in. Just before I come across to you, Abhijit, there's a quick breaking. There's a U.S. confirmation coming in of no casualties. In fact, the U.S. has issued its first statement, and I'm quoting, "The Al Udeid air base was attacked by short-range and medium-range ballistic missiles originating from Iran today. At this time, there are no reports of U.S. casualties. We are monitoring the situation closely, and we will provide information as it becomes available." That's the statement coming in from the side of the United States. Abhijit Iyer Mitra, over to you.
First, I want to point out how quickly this has gotten diverted to Palestine. Let's go to who started this. In 1994, the Jewish Cultural Center in Buenos Aires was bombed by Iran. What did Iran have to do with the Palestinians at that point? You know, the former ambassador, Israeli ambassador to India, Daniel Carmon, his first wife was killed in that bombing. And this was at a time when the Israelis were making peace. They were ceding land to the Palestinians to create a future Palestinian state. Why did Iran have to go bomb the Israelis at that point of time, that too in Buenos Aires? Please, give us a break. This gentleman has been twisting everything we've been saying. We've all seen the damage. We're talking about militarily damage. What?
Your leap of logic is too much for me. It's killing my brain that you think a terrorist attack done by people in Argentina justifies a genocide and justifies Israel's greater Israel
talking about
project,
Gaza, dude.
which
Nobody's
invades
interested in
Palestine,
Gaza right
which
now.
invades Lebanon,
We have
which
zero
invades
interest in
Syria,
Gaza.
takes land off everybody.
Madhav, get him on point.
One by one. Hussain, you were talking about who started it. He is talking about the attack from Israel's side that was there in Argentina, and he's saying that was the first time that Iran, in a sense, targeted Israel, and that had nothing to do with Palestine at that point of time. That's the point that he's trying to make.
And it's not the Iranian government, Madhav, that did this.
It was the Iranian government. All the investigations have found it was the Iranian government.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah. So, this is the problem with all of this. Everything gets brought down to Palestine. Let's focus on Iran.
What are you talking about?
Iran.
One, Dr. Dror, let Abhijit make his point. I'll come to you in just a minute. Just a second, please. Yes.
And the fact remains that ever since the Shah's time, Israel and Iran were very close during the Shah's time. They militarily support each other. Who broke this relationship? It was entirely one-sided by Iran, trying to grandstand. Israel never did anything to Iran. In fact, Israel supplied that part of the Iran-Contra deal, if you remember it, was Israel supplying weapons to Iran when it was fighting Iraq. And how do the Iranians pay them back? They go and bomb the Jewish Center in 1994 in Buenos Aires. I'm sorry, the Iranians are the most crude, unsophisticated. All this nonsense about highly sophisticated 10,000-year timeline Iranian history is such gobbledygook. They have now trapped themselves in sanctions after sanctions after sanctions. The military is increasingly like a joke. What do you expect?
Okay. Dr. Dror, you want a quick response to what has been stated earlier by Hussain? Then I go across to him. Yes.
I want to say that, all the historical fact that this person said before me about 48, it's a lie. He doesn't know anything about historical fact. What happened? The only genocide that was committed was in October 7th. There is no concentration camps, and all he spoke before about Channel 14. He doesn't know anything. He grabbed all his information from nonsense sources. What we are speaking about is an evil regime that torture its people, that control its people by sword, by force, because of a theocratic regime. So they finance and trained Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, everyone. They control every place in the globe. When it's instabilized, you can trace Iran's place, Iran's hands. So what we are doing now, Israel, we are fighting for the whole free world. This is a moral war against a tyranny that wants to enslave the free world in the name of a death cult. So this gentleman support terror and wants to teach us history. Listen, my man. The Jewish people has returned to history not to be eliminated by the mullahs. We are here and we are eternal people, and we will stay even after this regime will fall. We don't care about them. We care about the survival of the whole free world.
There is no one in the world that can teach Israel how to be any more evil than it already is. It's obvious.
You don't know anything about it.
What you've done in Syria,
you support an evil regime,
and your people.
You support an evil regime.
You've got prisoners. You've got prisoners in a prison being raped by pieces of wood from your police officers. That's your police officers.
Israel is democratic.
All right. I think we are getting way beyond the subject of discussion. We're talking about the kind of escalation that we're seeing on ground, over there in the Middle East, and number of updates that have been coming in fact, over the last several hours over what really is transpiring as far as the Middle East is concerned. Let's quickly, let me bring in fact, I'm going to come across to you in just a moment. Let me bring in Dr. Ranganathan and other panelists as well. Dr. Ranganathan, your quick response.
No, I was hoping it wouldn't come to this, but what are we trying to do out here? Reinventing the wheel or something? I mean, the Israeli-Palestinian problem is not going to be solved in 30 seconds. So it's going to go to and fro. But, as to Dr. Hussain, I just want to ask him a simple question. He's brandishing about these, big words like genocide. It's a simple question. During the Holocaust, the good doctor, did the Jewish population increase or decrease?
Okay. Can I just say to you that I'm not a doctor, okay? So I'm not a doctor. So let's get that straight.
Okay.
Thank you for saying it, but I'm not.
Fact-checking is fine, all right. Fact-checking is fine, but he's asking you a question. Would you like to respond to that?
During the Holocaust, did the Jewish population decrease or increase?
So I would suggest that it wasn't something that went up, it went down, yeah.
Correct, right. So,
and you're
all authoritative
so let me ask you a simple
one
question.
Second. No, please wait.
Please carry on. I'll wait.
Thank you.
I'll wait.
Thank you. So here is someone like you who's brandishing these words called genocide in Gaza. Do you know, by all authoritative accounts, in the last 2 years, the Gazan population has actually increased? Do you know that?
Do you know that you're lying? Do you know you're lying?
I'm lying now? I'm lying?
100%.
Oh,
shall I give you a little fact? Let me give you a little fact, okay?
When you go with WhatsApp University,
Goodbye.
When you don't have words, when you don't have facts at your disposal, you just brandish about words like genocide. The fact of the matter is that Israel voluntarily...
This is an absolute fact.
I didn't interrupt.
Okay?
I've been waiting for my turn for half an hour. I've been waiting for my turn for half an hour. Please don't interrupt me. The fact of the matter is that Israel voluntarily gave up the Gaza Strip to the Palestinians. They democratically elected Hamas. Now, for you to say Hamas is not a terror group, I'm afraid it makes you a terror apologist. For you to say that Israel attacked Iran, when in fact Israel attacked Hezbollah and Israel attacked a Hamas terrorist, is just completely baloney. So, professor or doctor, whoever you are, you need to get your facts right.
Okay. So
Hussain, now your response.
Fact, Madhav, little fact. The population of Gaza was 2,250,000 people. The population, according to the Israeli armed forces, the population of Gaza right now is 1.85 million people. 377,000 people are gone. Could you tell me, where's the mathematics? And that's not me. That's a Harvard data set that says between the army, the different positions that they've moved people, there's 1.85 million Gazans left.
Okay.
And just so you, let me finish one more thing.
Quickly.
The definition of the word genocide is one thing and one thing only. It's called intent. It's the intent to remove people. It's the intent to kill people. And they have made that intent absolutely clear through multiple
What about the statements from Iranian leaders who say they want to wipe off Israel? They want to wipe off the entire country from the face of the earth. What about those statements? They are not genocidal?
Who said that?
There are several statements coming in from several Iranian leaders, sir.
Why did Ariel Sharon withdraw in
2005?
2005?
The Iranian government said, and this is Ahmadinejad, saying about Israel being wiped off the map. You know what they want? They want Israel to behave like an adult. They want it to behave like a responsible person.
Okay.
While they're not behaving like a responsible people.
Okay,
while
who's
they're
behaving
behaving
irresponsibly? We'll, of course, just come
Madhav-
back to that debating point in a moment. Let's quickly take a look at what we have with us at the moment. There are visuals coming in of the moment of the launch of those missiles. Let's quickly take a look at that. Those are the pictures that are coming in of the launch of several of those missiles from the side of Iran towards Qatar. That's the information that we have. Those are the pictures that we have of those missiles being launched. Several short-range and medium-range missiles that were launched. They were all intercepted is what we understand, and those are the pictures of several of those missiles. Very clearly, Iran would want to make a huge amount of song and dance that it has responded to the US strikes, and perhaps at some level, calls coming in, several reports suggesting that they had called Qatar as well as US and informed them before these missiles were fired. So diplomacy also working at some level or the other. Those are the pictures coming in that you can very clearly see. Dr. Dror, let me come back to you. Those are pictures. Iran clearly would want to make a huge spectacle of this. And at some level, it is important because then it gives Iran an off-ramp as well.
Well, the Iranian people is different than its regime. So what we see now is maybe the last period of this evil regime, because the Iranian regime did not say death to Israel only. They said every day death to America. For them, America is the great Satan and Israel is a small Satan. And anyone that is comply with this statement actually wants to let this regime to eliminate, to exterminate the only Jewish state, to continue what the Nazis did during the Holocaust. So when we are speaking about Iran, we have to differentiate between these two levels. The people of Iran that want to be free and the regime that want to enslave them as it did during the last 46 years. Let me so only in one sentence response to my colleague here. The population in Gaza is not 2.2 million, it's less. But it's true that they are less now because, not because Israel killed them, God forbid, no. Because they escaped, and if you let all of them will leave this cursed land because they don't want to live.
We'll have to leave it there, sir. We are completely out of time. We have to go to a commercial break. This is a commercial compulsion. Abhijit Iyer Mitra, Dr. Anand Raghunathan. Dr. Raghunathan has some facts and figures that he wants to present. Unfortunately, we're completely out of time. Say my producers, I'm sorry about that. Hussain Shafiei as well as Dr. Dror Adar. We have to slip into a quick break, but we'll be continuing with our coverage on the other side of this short commercial break.